They say Hollowmere Forest doesn't whisper, it listens. It's a place where the silence is so deep, it feels like it has weight. On windless nights, the trees stand motionless, and animals refuse to cross its borders. Even the ground seems to swallow your footsteps. The locals will tell you the forest isn't haunted. It's alive, and it remembers every voice that has ever dared to wander inside its ancient woods. Liam Whitlock never believed those stories. To him, they were just campfire tales meant to scare kids. At least, that was before he lost his older brother, Daniel. Daniel's death shattered him. It happened in an instant. One moment, they were hiking up a familiar mountain path, laughing and joking. The next, a sudden rock slide buried Daniel right in front of him. Rescue teams worked for hours, but the only thing that ever came back from that mountain was the echo of Liam's scream. After the funeral, Liam became a ghost in his own home. He locked himself in his room, caught in a downward spiral of guilt and insomnia. He stopped eating. He barely spoke. Over and over, he'd whispered the same words to himself. If I hadn't asked him to climb that day, he'd still be alive. Grief does that to people. It twists them, makes them desperate, makes them reach for anything that promises relief, no matter how impossible. One night, while sifting through Daniel's belongings, searching for something, anything to hold on to, Liam's hand brushed against a loose floorboard under his brother's desk. Hidden beneath it was a worn, leather-bound book, The Veil of Returning. Its edges were charred, and some pages were torn, but the drawings inside were disturbingly clear. Ritual circles, strange symbols, and mirrors used as portals to another world. The notes scrawled in the margins weren't in Daniel's handwriting. They belonged to someone from long ago. But the book's purpose was undeniable. It described a ritual to speak to those beyond the veil. It wasn't about raising the dead, not about bringing them back to life, just speaking to them. For someone drowning in regret, that was more than enough. Just one last conversation, just one chance to say goodbye properly. Liam devoured the book. He spent his nights memorizing every line, every symbol, every dire warning. The text claimed that the veil between the living and the dead thins during the new moon. On that night, if a petitioner brought a mirror, a lock of the departed's hair, and an offering of their own blood, the veil could be opened just enough for a voice to pass through. But 3 rules were emphasized, written in stark red ink, rules that Liam, in his grief, chose to ignore. First, never perform the ritual alone. Second, never summon without protection. And third, never ever call a name more than once, because in the suffocating dark between worlds, something else might be listening. On the night of the new moon, Liam walked into Hollowmere Forest, breaking all 3 rules. The air was unnaturally heavy, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. The dirt beneath his boots felt strangely soft, like walking on a grave. He found a small clearing encircled by ancient, twisted pines. Their gnarled branches curved inward, like skeletal fingers pointing directly at him, the intruder. He lit 6 candles and arranged them in a circle. With a trembling hand, he drew the symbols from the book onto the ground. He placed the mirror in the center. His hands weren't shaking from fear, but from a desperate, aching hope. This was the closest he had felt to Daniel in weeks. He took a small knife, made a shallow cut on his palm, and let his blood drip onto the mirror's surface. The reflection rippled, and the forest around him went completely silent. Liam leaned in and whispered his brother's name. Daniel. Nothing. The wind didn't move. The leaves didn't rustle. Everything was impossibly still. His hope began to curdle into fear. He leaned closer, desperation overriding caution, and whispered it again. Daniel. This time, the mirror shook violently. It felt as if a hand was pressing against the other side, trying to break through the glass. Liam instinctively took a step closer, his heart pounding in his chest. Then he heard it, a voice. It came from behind him, soft, familiar and fragile. Liam? His breath caught in his throat. It couldn't be. Daniel? He spun around, expecting to see the face he missed so much, the brother he loved. But there was nothing, only endless darkness between the trees. The voice came again, trembling, as if from the cold. Help me. It had to be Daniel. It had to be. He whipped back around to face the mirror. And there he was. His brother's face appeared, pale, tired, and bruised, but it was unmistakably Daniel. Liam. I'm trapped. It's so dark here. Liam collapsed to his knees, tears blurring his vision. I'm so sorry, Dan. I should have saved you. But his words were cut short. Daniel's reflection froze. His head shifted, not like a person turning, but like an image being pushed from the wrong direction. A shadow behind his reflection stretched and twisted, its smoky form sprouting limbs. The mirror's light dimmed, swallowing Daniel's face whole, replacing it with something else. As his brother's image faded, a deeper voice echoed from within the glass, layered over Daniel's fading scream. Found you. Liam scrambled backward, pure terror seizing him. What are you? But the thing in the mirror didn't answer. It didn't need to. The forest answered for it. Every tree bent toward him, their branches groaning like old bones breaking. The 6 candles extinguished all at once, plunging the clearing into absolute darkness. Only the mirror still glowed, casting a sickly, pale light. And from that light, something crawled out. It didn't step. It crawled. Its limbs were long, thin, and impossibly jointed, as if the shadows of the forest had peeled themselves off the ground and been shaped into a living nightmare. Its eyes weren't eyes at all, but hollow voids, burning with an internal, malevolent fire. Liam tried to run, but his legs were frozen. The ritual circle he had drawn was no longer just chalk on dirt. It now glowed with a faint, imprisoning light, a trap. He remembered the first rule, never summon alone, but it was far too late. The creature moved toward him, smelling of damp soil and rot. It tilted its head, studying him with a slow, predatory curiosity. You spoke a name twice, it whispered, its voice like the sound of dry branches snapping. The veil opened too wide, and I came through instead. Where's my brother? Liam choked out, his voice barely a whisper. The creature leaned in, so close that Liam could feel its icy breath on his cheek. Your brother answered, it hissed, but you weren't the only one who heard the call. It raised a shadowed hand and placed a clawed finger against Liam's chest, right over his heart. You offered blood. You offered grief, a perfect invitation. It paused, and every invitation demands a price. Liam stumbled back, clutching his chest as the world around him began to warp. The shadows of the trees stretched unnaturally, connecting to the creature like pulsing veins. He desperately tried to break the circle, scraping at the ground with his bare hands, but the dirt had hardened into solid stone. You wanted the dead, the creature hissed, its hollow eyes burning into him. Now the dead want you. Suddenly, the mirror lifted from the ground and rotated to face him. He saw his own reflection. But it wasn't him. It was Daniel, staring back in sheer terror, shaking his head violently. Liam, Don iti let it. Daniel's reflection was cut off as something unseen dragged him backward into the inky blackness. Liam reached for the mirror, for his brother. The creature reached for Liam. The last thing he saw was the forest lights dimming as they collided. The sound that followed was not human. And then silence returned to Hollowmere Forest, the same deep, listening silence as before. For weeks afterward, villagers began reporting strange sounds at night. They heard 2 voices echoing through the woods. One sounded like a young man crying for help. The other responded with a voice that was inhuman, a chilling rasp that promised only pain. Some say Liam never left the forest, that he's trapped there, repeating the ritual night after night, forever searching for his brother. Others claim the creature used his body as a doorway, and that both brothers are now caught between worlds, their whispers carried on the wind, waiting for the next desperate soul foolish enough to answer. But everyone in Hollowmere agrees on one thing: the forest remembers, and it is always, always listening. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales from the shadows.